Hi again, I'm Adele Segal and I am bringing beauty to you. Now today I'll be showing you how to tint and shape the eyebrows correctly and also how to tint the eyelashes. This topic gets me very excited as it is my favorite treatment to do because the before and the afters are just such a vast difference. We often hear about the skincare therapists that see the cracked heels when the ladies go up the escalators, and the nail therapists see cracked nail varnish. And all I see when I look at somebody, firstly, is skin, and secondly, are brows. Not because I'm judgmental, but I just see endless pools of possibilities. And it gets me so excited as I can see what I can do to achieve that perfect framework for your face. Now let me show you what we're going to need for this tinting and demonstration. So this is the kit that we're going to be using to tint and shape your eyebrows and eyelashes. Firstly, we've got the under eye tint pads. I've got 3 colors of tint. The black we use usually on ethnic skin, blue black for your Indian skins. I also like to use the blue black on Caucasian lashes. It just creates that jet black look, and it also, to me, doesn't burn as much as the black. Also, brown tint for eyebrows, mostly for the Caucasian skins. Then we've got Vaseline. It's just going to create a barrier so you don't stain the skin when we do tint. Eye drops, this is absolutely optional. Just when the tint does go into your eyes, you can just rinse it out and it doesn't burn as much. We've got round cotton wool. Going to be using this to take off the tint and also to cover the eyes when we're tinting. Earbuds, we're going to use this tons during this video. Got a tinting bowl. Eyebrow brush and comb. We've got a spoolie or a mascara brush. You can also use an old mascara brush. Your tweezers. I like to use the gold tip slanted tweezers. It just, after all the years of working with them, I find them the most convenient or easiest to use and to handle. One of my favorite products is the eyebrow sculpting gel. We've got the brow pencil. This is just to indicate where we're going to be tweezing and shaping the eyebrows. A little nail scissor just to shape and cut the excess hair or the longer hair in the brow. And some alcohol pads. This is just to clean the tweezers, just to sterilize them before each use. So this is our kit. This is mostly what we're going to be using for our eyelash and eyebrow tinting and shaping demonstration. So now I'm going to be calling my model or my client for the day, as it is easier for me to demonstrate on somebody and telling you what to do. And then after I've done the tinting and shaping on my client, which is my husband, as we are in lockdown, I will then show you how to tint and shape on yourself. So stay with me as I'm going to call my client. I now have my client or my model in front of me so I can demonstrate the tinting and shaping to you. Now tinting is using semi-permanent dye to temporarily enhance and define and even shape the eyebrows and the eyelashes. So I'm going to start off with the eyebrows, and then I'm going to be moving on to the eyelashes, and then I'll also show you how to shape the eyebrows. So I'm going to use my tinting bowl. For brows, I like to use the brown tint, and you just use a minuscule amount. I would say the size of a pinky nail, that much. And then we were taught 6 to 8 drops of peroxide. So it's 10% or 10 volume peroxide, 3% strength. So we 1, 2, 3, 4. I prefer to use between 4 and 6 drops of peroxide. I'm just going to reiterate, it is the 10 volume peroxide or the 3% peroxide. Now, peroxide, you have to keep out of reach of children. Let me just read to you. Use only as directed. I'm showing you. I'm directing you. For external use only. Avoid contact with the eyes. So that's why it sometimes burns when it does come in contact with the eyes. Store below 25 degrees Celsius. Out of direct sunlight. That's why it's got an amber bottle. And keep out of reach of children, as I said. It's the hydrogen peroxide. So this is for your brows. Now we want to make sure our area is clean. Remove all traces of makeup. And then I don't want Stephen's brows to be too dark. This is Stephen, by the way. Stephen is my husband. So what you can do, I'll show you later when I do my own brows, how I frame my brows with the Vaseline. But you can also, now this is like a dummy way of doing eyebrows, eyebrow tinting. Apply the Vaseline all over the show, over the entire brow, over the skin, wherever you want the tint not to stain the skin. So I don't want the tint to stain the skin, so I'm going to apply it all over. If I do not apply it over the hair, it is going to come in contact with the skin and it will stain the skin. So by doing this, I just protect the skin from being stained. So this is really a dummy way of tinting, totally not what we are taught to do, but then you can't really mess it up. So now I've applied Vaseline over the entire brow, all the hairs. The hair will still take tint. And then we've got our little tinting bowl with our tint that we just mixed. And what I forgot to mention when I packed out the tinting kit is obviously the most important, your tinting brush. So I'm going to mix my brown tint with my peroxide. Volume 10, 3% peroxide. Mix it to make a nice paste. And then we're going to be applying to the brows. Now there are so many different kind of brows obviously doing the circuit or trending at the moment. We've got the new laminated brows or soap brows where everything's brushed upwards. We've got microbladed brows. I've got microbladed brows. You've got pixelated shading. We've got all kinds of brows at the moment. But then old school tinting is still one of the favorites and one of the most popular treatments in a salon. So with very fine strokes, I've got a very fine tinting brush. It's just also easier to perform a tint with a fine brush so that you can't mess it up, and it's a very direct and very safe way to tint. You can also be using your earbuds, and the earbuds will act then as a brush as well. So I can't really stuff this up, but if I do, it's not a problem. We've got Vaseline on the skin, so you can just wipe it off. And that is me tinting Stephen's eyebrows. Now usually you leave the tint on, depending on how dark you want it. You can leave the tint on for about 10 minutes. The brows, especially on men, you don't want them too dark or too defined, especially if they're not used to it. So you're only going to do a little bit of a difference. So I'll be leaving his tint on, say, 5 to 7 minutes just to be safe. You can always make it darker, but it's very difficult to lighten them once they are dark. So this is his brows covered. You just try and cover each individual lash as much as possible and just get it all individually or under the gaps as well. And that's it. That's how easy it is. So now we can leave it on for a few minutes before we just gently remove it. If you did smear a little bit, you can just neatly tidy them up. Around the brows. So your eyebrows are your framework for your face. So if they're nice, defined, enhanced, then it immediately shows more, or it is just your presence is more known with eyebrows that are pronounced. Especially with dark hair, you can have eyebrows that are a shade or two lighter than your hair when you've got dark hair. If you're blonde like myself, we prefer to have eyebrows 1 or 2 shades darker than your hair. So we sit and we wait. Now I can start, you can either afterwards start shaping the eyebrows, or we can tint the eyelashes first. So I'm going to start preparing the eyelashes so it makes the weight on the eyebrows a little bit less. So for eyelashes, for the Caucasian skin, the blue-black just gives a beautiful jet black appearance or look to it. I'm going to again put a Vaseline underneath the eye. You don't have to, whether you're doing your mom's or your daughter's, your friend's eyelashes, your husband, your spouse, whoever's lashes at the moment, you just apply Vaseline under the eye. They don't have to look up. It is easier if you want to get right into the lash line, but it is not compulsory, because a lot of people get scared when you come too close to their lashes and it's uncomfortable. So you can just apply Vaseline as close to the lash line as possible under both eyes. Then also just on top of the lid by the lash line, a little bit of Vaseline. Again, this is just to protect the skin should you stain it with tint. It's not uncomfortable, and it doesn't hurt the eye when it does come into it. It's just going to give a little bit of a wishy-washy feel to it. So that is the Vaseline under the eye and around the eye. Then we've got our tinting pads, our under eye tinting eye pads. Again, this is just to protect your skin from getting stained. So you've got these, they look like little half moons. So if you stick them directly onto the skin, they sometimes move around. So what I like to do is I moisten or wet them a little bit. I've got water here. I always use lukewarm water when working around the eye. It's just more comfortable and soothing. So I just wet the pads. You can also apply Vaseline directly onto the pads and then put them underneath the eye. So the Vaseline's also going to make them stick. So again, your client, model, friend can look up and then you apply the under eye pad. You can close for me. Then sometimes it moves around depending how round the eyeball is, or you can keep it closed now, or you can just maneuver it yourself and just put it right underneath the lashes. This way it just protects the skin, so you can tint there. So I'm just going to clean this tinting bowl from the brown tint. As I said before, blue-black tint, and then just again a little amount. So one of these tubes will last you for 20 tints at least. A little bit of tint in there. Now, especially with the lashes, you don't want to be applying too much peroxide, because then it makes the paste very runny and it runs into your eyes and sometimes burns your eyes. So this is where I like to only do 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of. If you want the eyebrows darker, you can also apply a little bit of, or mix a little bit of the black tint with the brown tint and just have a little bit of darker brow. If you want completely black brows, then you use the black tint. So you can play around and mix and match as much as you want to. So now again, you're going to be mixing your peroxide, volume 10, 3% peroxide. Going to mix with your blue-black tint. Just create a nice smooth paste. Now with very fine strokes, and that's why a little fine brush like this helps, right up against the lash line, you can just brush on the tint and create a nice paste over your lashes. You can apply at the top and then work from the bottom up again as well. So you get the top lashes as well as the bottom lashes. You comfortable? I don't really care because we're doing a movie. Just kidding. So don't laugh, you're moving my iPads. So now we're applying the tint on this eye, both the top, and you're going to smear it at the bottom as well, lifting the lashes as you do so. So you get right underneath the lashes as well, so the bottom and the top lashes will be tinted at the same time. Right against the eyelid if you can, but try not to let the tint run into the eyes. Okay. And now wipe your tint brush again. This is where I like to use the round cotton wool. And then dunk it in the water to make them wet. And then I divide them in half. Oh, that's a silly. Some round cotton will tear better than others. Divide them in half and fold them in half again, and you can just cover the lashes. Now the lashes you can easily leave on for 10 minutes, depending whether they're going to burn or not. So for 10 minutes, they can just, nobody wants light lashes, so the darker they are, the better, whether you're male or female. And now I think it's time for us to take our brows off. So again, I'm going to use the round cotton wool. I'm going to dampen or wet them. And with a little bit of pressure, you can see I'm going to lift the eyebrow a little bit of pressure, you just wipe them off. That is how easy eyebrow tinting is at home. And take another one. This one I'm going to use a dry one. So you'll see with grey hair, they are very porous, so they just attract the dye and tint very easily. So be careful not to leave tint on too long on grey brows. Now it's going to look very dark still because remember that the brows are wet at the moment. But now we've got a darker, more defined eyebrow. And they are clean and free of any product. So if you use a spoolie or an eyebrow brush, we're going to brush his brows upwards and just see if there are any long hair that bother us. Now I won't be tweezing his eyebrows at the moment because that's going to make his eye open a little bit and the product to run into his eyes and potentially burn his eyes. So I can brush his eyebrows upwards and you can see some hair will be longer than the other. So I can use my nail scissor and carefully cut the long hair. Wonder if I brush it upwards if you can see the long ones. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to brush it upwards, and wherever the hair extend the line at the top, I'm going to cut them. So you'll see that's all the hair that I've cut. So I'm just going to neaten or tidy the brows and cut them so they don't have long wispy ends. It's just going to have a tidy, neat appearance. So I'll do it without the brush so you can see better. There's a long one there. Don't want to cut them too short, then they're going to look unnatural. But just there where some of them make a little bit of a curl, just cut off the curl. Obviously I've been doing this for a while, so don't just freehand it. Be careful when you cut, because once it's short, it's there to stay. I never pull out the white or the grey hair either, because if you're going to continuously pull out all the hair, you're going to be left with none after a while. Not all brows grow back, as we saw in that era of everybody over plucking their eyebrows. Now I prefer a full brow. The more hair you have, the more you can do with your eyebrow as well. So now we've tidied them up a little bit and cut all the long hair. I'm going to be taking off the tint now before we're going to be tweezing or showing you how to tweeze the eyebrows correctly. So I'll be taking off his eye tint. I'm just going to get some more water. So this is my lukewarm water. Make sure to test it before you use it. Don't want to burn the eyes. We just want to soothe and clean them. Okay. Make sure you've got enough round cotton wool. So we don't want to apply pressure on the eyeballs when we remove the tint, because then you're going to squeeze in the product into the eyes, and this is sometimes where the eyes burn. Whether you are the most practiced therapist or have done this for years, sometimes the eyes burn no matter what you do. It also depends on how sensitive the client's eyes are. Whether you worked in front of the computer the whole night, had a sleepless night, you've got blue eyes are very sensitive to light. All depends on the client's eyes or your person's eyes or your own eyes when you are tinting your eyes or your eyelashes. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, it's just some people are more prone to others to burn. So again, don't apply too much pressure when wiping, so it comes off with the under eye pad. And most of the product is already removed. So a little bit of, maybe I'll just put the bowl here, of cotton wool dabbed or drenched in lukewarm water. Just gently remove the excess product on the lashes. Looking good, Bob. Just wipe it gently. Take a clean one. See, there's still a little bit of product coming off. Just use my fingers to straighten out the little bit of creases around the eyes. We've got a friendly man lying here. Okay, just clean the eyelashes. It's much easier to tint somebody else's lashes than to do your own. I didn't put this back neatly. So I'm going to be using earbuds just to remove the extra. Make a little circular sweeping motion over the eyelash. You'll see there's still some tint coming off. Just to remove the excess product until you don't see anything coming off anymore before you let the client open their eyes, or the model or the friend or the spouse or the mom or the daughter or the son, whoever lashes you are doing. See, there's still some product coming off. Just gently work around the eyes, as it is very sensitive. Okay? I'm going to be taking eye drops and just squeezing a drop or two in each eye. You can keep them closed. Just before I let him open his eyes, it just cleanses out if any product ran into his eyes. It just soothes them a little bit before I let him open. Am I drowning you? Okay. Try and open your eyes for me. See? And then, are they burning? Not burning. It was a good run. And so his eyes are clean of product. I rinse them out, and now they're nice and long lashes. I actually think they're longer than mine. Where's that scissor? So that's his lashes tinted, and eyebrows are tinted. Eyebrows are cut and tidied up, and now I want to show you how to correctly tweeze or shape your eyebrows. Let me just move this out of the way. So these are 3 products that you won't need at home. It's just for me to indicate to you where and how you should shape your eyebrow. So I'm going to be using a black pencil just to show you that we want the eyebrow to start when you do outside of the nose, inside of the eye, the corner, and then that's where you want the eyebrow to start. See, his eyebrows are perfectly in line with the outside of the nose, inside of the eye, and beginning of the brow. I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Outside of the nose, inside of the eye, and that's where his brow should start. Now his eyebrow should end outside of the nose, corner of the eye, right there. Oops. And then outside of the nose, outside of the eye, outside of the brow. And then the arch, we usually like it. Can you look up and straight for me? Where the color of his eye, the iris, ends on the outside. Directly there, and that's usually where your arch should be. Just look straight up for me. Outside of the iris, the colored part of the eye, and that's where you want the arch to be. Now, my tongue depressor is getting dirty. So we just want to measure that both sides are more or less in line. So that's going to be the line of his eyebrow. See, this one's a little bit more raised than that one. That's what happens when we age. Same with the bottom. So they are more or less in line. What we always say is we want sisters or brothers, but not necessarily twins, because hardly anyone have perfect identical eyebrows. So they are related, but they are not twins. So this is what is going to happen. We want everything. I'm going to use the white pencil just to show you. On the inside here, to be removed, we can remove everything above should you wish. And then for the girls, everything at the bottom there. So wherever I've got the white pencil is the hair that I want to remove to make his eyebrows more defined and a beautiful, clean shape. Now, I like full brows, as I mentioned before, especially on males. So we don't want to give him that feminine brows, but we want to take the unwanted hair that is giving him a neat appearance away. So I haven't tended to his brows for a while because we knew we wanted to shoot this video. So we want to take all the hair on the inside and a little bit of the hair on the outside, and then sometimes there's hair going into the hairline over here that we also want to remove. So if that gives you any indication, inside of the eye, or the inside of the brows, inside of the eye, outside of the nose. So that's your first line, and then outside. So it's like a little triangle, and that should be your arch. And that is the brow. That's how we're going to shape them. So in order to shape them, I've got, just take it out, a brand new gold tip slanted tweezer. I like the small tweezers. It's easier for me to grip and to handle, and I am more comfortable with it. But each to his own. And let me just remove all this pencil drawing, this Picasso of mine, because I know what to do. So I know where to take off the, this stains, the hair. Maybe I should just leave the marking on here for you to see. It's going nowhere. Okay, it's easier to remove the tint than it is to take Hannon's gel pencil off. Okay. So I'm wiping all the product off, or all the eyeliner off, just because it's very messy. I just indicated to you where we need to tweeze. Now let me just brush them upwards so I can see exactly where we need to take off the hair. So the important thing is get comfortable with your tweezer and then support. So I'm going to be using my index and my middle finger, and I'm going to pull his skin tight to support, even on your own skin. Try and pull it tight so you can get right in there so you don't pinch yourself. And then you want to get to the root of the hair as close to the skin as possible, because otherwise you're going to break off the hair. So you're going to get to the root and you pull it with the hair growth. If you're going to pull it to the other side, you're most likely going to break off the hair. So you always pull it with the hair, so the way the hair grows. And then you just, obviously a little bit slower, take out all the hair that is in the space that I showed you, the unwanted hair that makes the appearance a little bit untidy or unneat. Take out all the hair as close to the skin as possible without pinching the skin. Pull the hair away, like with the hair growth. What you can also do is use a warm compress or a cloth or after a shower, because then the follicles are nice and open and the hair comes out easy. For those of you that hate tweezing and think it's the most painful, what should we call it, punishment ever, it's easier if you do it after a hot shower or anything that opens up the follicles. A little bit of steam, a shower bath, hot compress, just a cotton wool with a little bit of warm water, just keep it on there, just to open up the follicles. And it's going to make the process a little bit less painful. So again, index finger and middle finger on the brow, separate them a little bit to pull the skin tight. I'm going to do it on this side as well. Index and middle finger, separate them to pull the skin tight in order to be able to get in there and just tweeze the eyebrows. Now we don't want to take off too much. We just want to take the unruly or the messy hair out. Just create the best shape possible. There is something like over tweezing. If you think that you've done too much on the one side, don't go and do the same on the other side, because it's less likely to grow back. Rather leave it and let it grow back before you over tweeze on the other side as well. I'd rather have bushy brows than over tweezed brows, because we therapists, as therapists, can do something with overgrown brows, but we can't put hair back once you've taken them out. So do not go and mess up the other side as well. Rather leave it so it can grow out. I don't want to take out too much, Bo. So you just see. So I've taken out all the hair that goes into the hairline. As close to the skin as possible, pull it with the hair, not against the hair growth. And then right in there. So I can also use my round cotton wool, dampen them, and just take off the loose hair that are in my way, so I can clearly see where I still need to pluck some more hair. You'll see there's a few loose hairs that I didn't wipe off, and it is now stuck to the cotton wool. So again, just quickly, you're gonna hold the tweezer like a pencil. Make sure you've got a comfortable grip. Index finger and your middle finger, put it on the area that you want to tweeze, and you pull it tight, and then as close to the skin as possible, you position your tweezer, and then you pull it with the direction of the hair, not against it, as then you will be breaking the hair. And that is the correct way of tweezing and your brow mapping. I hope I taught you something, and I'm now going to show you how I'm going to tint my own eyebrows and eyelashes. Don't get a fright. So this is me without any eye tint, as you can clearly see. So that's why I'm going to be showing you how to do your own eyebrow and eyelash tinting. Now firstly, we want to make sure we've got a clean surface to work from. So I have removed all my makeup. I just want to make sure there's no traces of foundation. Oh, there is. On my eyebrows or my eyelashes. So I've got a clean surface to work from. Now I'm going to be taking, I like the brown tint and the blue-black tint for my face. You can mix them in the same bowl, and you're going to take about the size of your fingernail or your small pinky nail to use. This is probably going to be too much for me, but rather safe than sorry. It's difficult to mix the tint while you're busy working already. So with the tint, you're going to add 4 drops of peroxide, 3% peroxide or volume 10 drops in there, and then just close that, and then I can mix it with my super fine tinting brush. Now the reason why I'm using such a fine brush, it's for precision work, so I can, especially on my own eyes, make sure that I'm working very precise and not burn my eyes or make product run into my eyes, especially my eyelashes when I'm doing my eyelashes. So that's me mixing my tint, and I'm now ready to tint my eyes. So what I'm going to do, just want to clean my brush. Next, I'm going to be using the Vaseline to frame my eyebrows. Now, I've got a little bit of a cheated brow because I've already had microblading done and my skin has already got color. Now, I want to create more color on my skin, so I'm going to be tinting or staining my skin. Now, previously with Steven's brows, I smeared the Vaseline over his entire brow. Now, with my brows, I'm only going to create a frame around my eyebrow, but you are most welcome to do it over your entire brow as well. So just bear with me while I do this. And once again, the Vaseline is just to create a barrier so you don't stain your skin with tint. So just, it doesn't have to be neat, it doesn't have to be a portrait. Just using an earbud to frame your eyebrows. I don't want to be coloring my skin as well on the parts with no hair, but I do want to tint them or stain them where the hair is. That makes your eyebrows look denser or fuller. So with a lot of my chemo clients, I do want to stain their skin. So that's why I make a false little film around your eyebrow, or like a stencil, creating a stencil around your eyebrow, and then I'm going to be filling it in with tint. I've already mixed the tint, so I'm going to be using the brown tint on my eyebrow, using a very fine, very precise brush. You can also use a earbud or a bigger brush, but I just find this is delicate work, so I'm going to be needing a very precise brush. So I'm smearing the tint all over my eyebrow, basically coloring them in. So my son won't be very good with this because he hates coloring in pictures, but we've had a little bit of practice. Just both sides. Some people say you can start in the middle by the arch if you want it darker there, and then just apply it to the ends, and then lastly here in the front if you don't want it too dark. Now my eyebrows color very easily or fast because I've got blonde eyebrows. Just want to make sure it's neat all over. It's a little bit difficult with the mirror position so far, so I'm just gonna tidy it up quickly for no other reason than just OCD. Okay, so that's my eyebrows. I'm going to leave it on there, usually for about 10 minutes. I'm only going to leave mine for 5 minutes, otherwise it's going to be too dark for me and for my face. We usually do about 2 shades darker than your natural hair, which is now here at the top, the regrowth. So you do about 2 shades darker than your natural hair for the lighter hairs, and then if you've got dark hair, you do about 2 shades lighter than your natural hair. So you don't want necessarily black eyebrows when you've got dark brown hair. But when you've got blonde hair, it's always nice to have a little bit more defined eyebrows. It just creates that framework that we spoke about earlier. Now for the lashes, there are 2 ways that you can do your lashes. Both are very sensitive, difficult ways to do your lashes because your eyes most certainly will burn if it comes into your eyes. So again, the very fine, delicate brush. I'm going to be doing this eye with a brush and the other side with a spoolie or the old mascara wand. So with your eye brush, you're just gonna gently, very carefully try and get the tint as close to your lid as possible, but do not get it into your eye because it will burn. So you try and get it as close to your lid as possible. Just gonna get close in there. And then it's easier to do the bottom, and then you can just swipe gently at the top as well. And then the same with the bottom. So now I applied my blue black or my jet black tint with the eye brush, and I'm going to be using the mascara wand on my other eye. So you can try out both options and see what is easier for you. I'm just going to smear the mascara onto this wand as much as possible. Now what is nice with the mascara wand is it separates your lashes. So you can just sweep it over your lashes like this. And it just separates them as well as tint them. So I've done the bottom now, and now you can take the mascara wand to the top and just gently do the top as well. You can also apply the Vaseline on your top lid as well as underneath. See, I made a little blob there, just to make sure that you don't stain your skin either above or below your lashes. Same with the bottom. Just from left to right, gently sweep it on your bottom lashes to color them. If somebody else does your lashes, you are most certainly going to have a more specific or more defined proper job than you doing it on your own, because you can't get right in there against your skin, because you have to keep your eyes open. If you were able to close your eyes, you can get right against your skin doing your own lashes, but it will burn if you do that, because now you have to keep it on your lashes for about 10 minutes. So while we're waiting for my eyelashes to tint now, I'm going to wait about 5 more minutes for my eyelashes. I'm going to take my eyebrows off. Now you'll see, just take a clean round cotton wool and take off the brow. Just apply a little bit of pressure and just sweep it off. And you can see immediately how much my brows have tinted. It's also on my skin, so it just creates a definite, more defined and enhanced eyebrow. I'm going to get it on my cheek as well. So that's my eyebrows. As I was looking down, I could actually feel I got some on my bottom lid. So I just want to clean that up before I've got nice stained lids. My brows are now defined, dark and enhanced. And it's about 5 minutes that has passed, so I'm going to be cleaning my eyelashes as well. Just lukewarm water soothes the eyes, so you can just again apply a little bit of pressure while you gently sweep it out of your eye, away from the tear ducts. So that's my eyelashes, the tint on my eyelashes. Again, if somebody else does your lashes, you can apply a lot more and make certain that it's going to get right against your lash line. But now, because I did it myself, I was very careful not to burn my eyes on camera. So make sure that you've cleaned all the product. I'm going to be using a little bit more earbuds. Lukewarm water, earbud, and you can just, with a slight circular motion, just make sure that you've removed all product. If your eyes burn, you can apply a little bit of eye gel or eye drops just to rinse out your eyes so that they don't burn. Sometimes what we also like to do is just you wet your round cotton wool. So if you just gently sweep with a little bit of added pressure, you just soothe your eyes from the tint. And that is my eyebrows and my eye tinting done. And now I can brush out my eyebrows. Just make, oh, not my hair. Brush my eyebrows. Make sure they're nice and neat. And then one of my favorite products is the brow sculpting gel. And that just keeps your eyebrows in place. Upwards and sideways. So you can just keep your eyebrows in place and then they'll stay nice and neat for the rest of the day. Now this is my eyelash and eyebrow tinting that I've done on myself. I hope it helped you to be able to do or perform this at home as well. And now before we finish off, I'll show you what it looks like with an enhanced mascara. Now my lashes are nice and dark, but it doesn't have that fullness that a mascara gives it. So I'll quickly be applying makeup and then I'll see you again. That brings us to the end of this video where we shaped our eyebrows and we tinted our eyebrows and our eyelashes. If you would like me to assemble a tint box for you, you can just get in contact with me. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel and comment down below whether I've encouraged you to try this at home. In the next episode, we will be doing dip acrylic nail system. It is so much easier than you think. I'm Adele Segal, bringing beauty to you. Bye for now.